Good morning, class. Today we are going to begin with the second part of lesson number 10, that is force and types of force. So, we are going to start with page number 72. Do you know? To weigh an object, it is hung from the hook of a spring balance. You all have seen the spring balance. What is a spring balance? Spring balance is that small machine like instrument which is normally used by the raddi wala. They collect the newspapers from our house or all the scraps. So what do? They have a hook on that machine. So then the suspended object is pulled down by the force of gravity. At the same time, the force of tension in the spring constantly pulls the object upwards. The object comes to rest when the tension in the spring and the gravitational force on the object becomes equal. In this position, the scale on the spring balance shows the gravitational force acting on the object, which is the weight of the object. The gravitational force acting on an object is called the weight of that object. Now children, after using that, when the person is using the spring balance, it has a hook. It has graduations on that. Graduations means the markings on the balance. So on that hook, the person puts the weight. He hangs the weight. Now the gravity is pulling the weight downwards. The gravity of the earth is pulling the weight towards the earth. And the machine has one spring in that which constantly pulls the object upwards. Now you can see at the same time there are two actions followed in that. The spring is pulling the object upwards. Gravitational force is pulling the weight downwards. Now when the object comes to rest, when the object becomes standstill, it's not moving, when the tension in the spring and the gravitational force on the object becomes equal, neither less nor more. So at that time, in this position, the scale on the spring shows the gravitational force acting on the object, which is the weight of the object. The gravitational force acting on an object is called the weight of that object. Children, I'll repeat what happens. How is the object weighed on a spring balance? Now, is the spring balance clear in your mind? Spring balance is that small vertical instrument. It has graduations on it. It has spring in it. It has a hook. On that hook, the weight, the object which has to be weighed is put. It is hung on that. Now there is a spring in that which pulls constantly. It pulls the object upwards. It is trying to bring the object upwards, whereas the gravitational force is trying to pull it down. When these both forces become equal, at that time you can say the spring, you can see the weight on the scale, or you can say in this position the scale on the spring balance shows the gravitational force that is acting on the object. Now this is the weight of the object. Understood? What is the weight? When can you see the exact weight? When both the forces are equal. The gravitational force acting on an object is called the weight of that object. Clear, children? Can we move further? Coming to the next force, that is magnetic force. Now you all are very well aware of magnetic force. You all play with magnet, no? Playing with magnet is fun. Okay children, we'll learn something more about magnetic force. Place a magnet on a table. Take a big iron nail towards the magnet. It sticks to the magnet. Now hold the magnet upright in the air, away from the nail. what happens. Try and do this experiment. See what happens. What will happen? Tell me, what will happen? The iron nails will rush towards the magnet. The magnetic pull is going to attract the nails towards itself. The force exerted by a magnet is called magnetic force. Children, what is magnetic force? The force exerted, given out by the magnet is called a magnetic force. Now you can see here, this is a magnet. This is called a bar magnet. Now this bar magnet has two poles, the south pole and the north pole. Every magnet has two poles, north pole and south pole. Now children, you can see this is one piece. If I break it into two parts, what will happen? North and south will be separated. If I am breaking it from the center, I am making two parts of this bar magnet, what will happen? I'll get two pieces, no? From one I'll be getting two pieces, right? Now that means what? I have separated north pole and the south pole. No children, the poles cannot be separated. Now if I am breaking this bar magnet into two pieces, now again this will be one, and this is the second piece, two pieces. Now this will be north and this will be south. It will also have north pole and it will also have south pole. Understood? So children, this is south pole, this is north pole, this is south pole, and this is north pole. If I make again, now this I made two pieces. Now if I am making four pieces, again that piece will also have north pole and south pole. So what do we understand from this explanation? That the poles of a magnet cannot be separated. What did we learn? The poles of a magnet cannot be separated. Now moving towards the fifth force, that is the frictional force. This is the frictional force. Now best example is the carom board. You all are very much familiar with the carom board. Now while playing with the carom board, you must have seen the coins, the striker. There are 2 to 4 players, right? Now what happens? To make your game smooth, to enjoy the game, what do? You sprinkle talcum powder on that. Because of that, what happens? The coins move smoothly. Now what is the reason behind it? Now while continuously playing on that board, the friction increases. The friction between the coins and the blackboard increases. Now to reduce it, we add talcum powder to it. Adding talcum powder on it or sprinkling talcum powder on it reduces the friction, making it smooth so that we enjoy the game properly. Now when a carom piece is flicked, why is the powder sprinkled on the carom board while playing carom? Why? What is the reason? Now take 2 pieces of smooth paper and 2 of sandpaper and rub them against each other. What do you notice? Now what are we experimenting? Taking 2 smooth paper and 2 pieces of sandpaper. You all know what is sandpaper? You all must have seen it. So the smooth surfaces can be easily rubbed against each other because the force of friction between them is less. So try to understand the concept. When the friction is less, the rubbing is smooth. When the friction is more, the rubbing becomes difficult. The rubbing is easy on the smooth surfaces. Now while rough surfaces cannot be easily rubbed against each other because the force of friction between them is much greater. Now where is the force of friction greater? In the sandpaper. Why? Because it is rough. Understood? Now the role of friction in our life differs from differs. Like for example, somewhere we want smoothness, somewhere we want roughness. Now for the carom board we want smoothness. If the surface is rough, if the friction is more, will we be able to play or enjoy the game properly? No. That is the reason we sprinkle talcum powder. On the other hand, while walking, the surface, two surfaces are required for friction. Always remember, two surfaces are compulsory. Like the one surface is of your shoe, the sole of your shoe, and the second surface is the earth, the ground where you are walking. Now if both of them are smooth, what will happen? The chances of your slipping, falling and getting hurt is more. So at that time we need the surface to be rough. Why? Because the gravitational force is also acting on us, no? It will, see now the gravitational force is making you stand, making you walk, making you run. Now where frictional force is more, that will make you slip if the surface is smooth. That is the reason the roads are made rough, the bridges are made rough, so that in a hurry-burry, like when people in the peak hours rushing to their offices, they might slip and fall down, they might break their bones. So that is the reason deliberately the surface of the bridges are made rough, so that we meet less with the accidents. It is possible for us to walk on the ground only because of this friction, the force of friction. If there is no friction, we would slip and fall down. We will slip. For example, we are likely to slip while walking or running on an oily or wet floor. If the floor is oily or wet, the possibility or the chances become more. That is the example of banana peel also. If it is there on the ground or on the road, if you don't watch it carefully, you step on it, because of the smoothness of the banana skin, you might fall. Why is a wooden plank laid down for pulling out a car which is stuck in the mud? Now this is an example given. If a car is stuck in the mud, to remove it, what will happen? The more the person tries to start the car, more because of the weight, the car will go inside. It will go deep inside. Now some tactics are used to bring the car out. Now what is that idea? Now the soil, this is smooth, no? The friction is less. That is the reason the car is not coming out easily. Now to increase the friction, a wooden plank. Now wooden plank is rough. A wooden plank is placed under the wheel of the car so that the car comes out from the mud. It becomes easier. Hence it can be pulled out from the mud. In short, the force of the friction can be either decreased or increased as desired, as we want. If we want to increase, we can increase it. If we want to decrease it, we can decrease it also. Now coming to the sixth force, that is electrostatic force. Now this force, the children, you all have played it many a times. You can just look at it and you will come to know what is that. Bits of paper, comb, or your scale, plastic scale. When you rub it on your hair and bring it near to the bits of paper, what happens? The paper flies and gets stuck to the scale or the comb. That is electrostatic force. Now the first step is spread small pieces of paper on a table. Rub a piece of thermocol or an inflated balloon against a silk cloth and bring it near these pieces. Now pieces of paper you understood. Rub a piece of thermocol also you know. An inflated balloon, a blown balloon, fula hua balloon. against what? Against a silk cloth and bring it near these pieces. What will happen? The second is rub a plastic comb against dry hair and repeat this above activity. I am sure you will have done this. Third step is rub a peacock feather between two pages of a notebook and bring it near your fingers. What do you see? In the above activities, the pieces of paper, hair and the peacock feathers are seen to move. Why does this happen? This happens because of the electrostatic force. Static electricity is produced on materials like rubber, plastic and ebonite. Due to friction, that is due to rubbing, it is produced due to friction. The force exerted by such electrically charged materials are called electrostatic force. Now children, electrostatic force is the weakest kind of all the forces. Now we have learnt 6 forces, 6 type of forces. Now electrostatic force is the weakest of all. Moving further, coming to page number 74. Now combined forces. We learnt 6 types of forces. Now the 7th part is combined forces. It is not exactly 7th, but it is the next step whereon while an action is taking place, various types of forces act on that object in question. You might have seen a roller coaster or juggling of a sailboat on the seashore. A variety of forces act together in these cases to obtain more information about these types of the words. Trick science in the Google and search on internet. Find out, you will find out more. Now, like for example, we took the example of carom board. Now, carom board, frictional force is there, correct? We can play because of frictional force. Now, you are playing, human beings are required to play that. So, muscular force is also used. So, it can be combined forces. One action can have many forces working or acting together to fulfill one task. To learn more about this, you can, click on trick science and you can learn more on Google. Okay children, now a little fun. Cut out fish shapes from colored plastic sheets. Fix a pin on one side of the fish. Take water in big deep plate. Release the fishes in it. They will float on the water. Take a magnet and move it around over the water. Can you make some other games like this? What makes such a game possible? Now children, this is a game. Like what you have to do is out of plastic sheets, make fishes and you put a pin in that. A pin is made up of iron and since it is plastic, it will float on the water. Now leave these fishes in the water. You can take a big bowl, add water in that and in that you leave the plastic fishes. Now what will happen if you rotate a magnet over it? You can see the fishes also move in the way you rotate the magnet. Now why is this? This is because of the magnetic force exerted by the magnet. Now the pins in the plastic are attracted towards the magnet and this is how the fishes move. Now you can make other games like this. Now children, keep this in mind, keep planning. For your activity, I will be giving you this. So you are not making fishes, you are not using this method, but I want you all to show me one game of magnet, fun with magnet. So plan now only. When we are having activity test, at that time I will tell you to make something from magnet and show me some magnetic game. Right children, be prepared. What we have learnt. Force is required to bring about an action, any action. Force is necessary for making an object move, to change the direction of motion and also to change the shape of the object. There are various types of forces such as muscular force, mechanical force, gravitational force, magnetic force, frictional force and electrostatic force. So children, I hope you all have understood the chapter. Read the chapter twice, thrice till you have not understood. If not understood, listen to the video again. I hope I've made everything clear. So the next lecture will be of notes. I'll be sending notes in the next lecture. Complete your notes. Okay children, till the time, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.